Perfect. Good. Hello, and we are live. We are live for the first time in 2022. Data on Kubernetes community. It is a pleasure to be back with you. Super stoked. We got a lot of action. We took a break over Christmas, a much needed one, not going to lie, but very, very good to be back with lots of energy and excitement, ready to rock this year. We were talking to Paulo, before we got started. And unfortunately, once again, we have to be patient, but we also have to be proactive. So never a dull moment. This session today for the Data on Kubernetes community really is a special one. And I really mean, I'll explain why. You know, running stateful workloads on Kubernetes has been a challenge, which is why this community exists, in order for practitioners to come together to share experiences to see how it's done. A lot of times historically, people have looked at Kubernetes as something that was only designed to manage stateless workloads. One of the big proprietors of that has been Kelsey Hightower over quite some time. Although last year in June, he tweeted that the chasm has been crossed because of the OraOperator that was created by, I believe it was created by Google in order to get Oracle databases on Kubernetes. But more importantly, today we're taking it even further. In October, we had an amazing panel in which someone from Oracle, Mickey Boxell, who did a great job, was also explaining to us a little bit about what's going on internally in Oracle in terms of approaching running databases on Kubernetes, making that happen. And today we're joined by Paulo Simoes, who's an amazing person. Very excited to have you on. The first time we're having you in English. We've had you in Portuguese. Paulo is joining us from, I believe, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Yeah. Paulo, welcome. Very nice to have you here with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Bart, my friend. Thanks so much. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here with you, everyone who could join us today to talk about something that I love. I really love it. I'm impressed about this project. And I think that we have many things for the future that everyone will love. And thank you so much for this opportunity. But today, your first meeting from 2022, it's really, again, an honor to me to start your year. I hope we can start with the right side, the right fit, right?
Yes.
Let's go. Thank you so much for this opportunity. As you said, we have Oracle is working a lot to grab for his Oracle OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, and for Oracle Database, all that developers and the DBAs or ERAES ones, facility, agility, everything that wants we that develop and build products, everything that cloud could offer for us, Oracle is working in his products and services to offer for us. So it's very exciting because some years ago, 3, 5, I don't remember exactly, we certified the Oracle database to run over inside the Docker.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. The first step, running everything inside the Docker to facilitate the developers to have Oracle database running very quickly inside your machine, right? Because everyone may think that, oh, Oracle database is something very big, very heavy, you could not run it. No, it's not true. It's not true. Oracle database, it's, of course, you have an implementation very large implementation, of course, with many servers, but you can dimension an Oracle database to run inside a container in your machine or outside the container in a big implementation, many clusters. But the amazing point is, since the version 12, if I remember right, since Oracle database inside of it is divided, I would say very simple, it's divided into containers, because we had inside the Oracle database the concept of pluggable database. There is a kind of container of the database. So when you think that, oh my God, what do you have here? You have something like Kubernetes. Very similar to Kubernetes. You have an orchestrator. The name is Oracle Database, but it's a platform. You have an orchestrator that orchestrates thin pluggable database. There is a container that has full capabilities of database. So you don't need to, for example, if you want to develop something like microservice. Microservice, the best practice to have microservice, you have a container for your data storage, because you use this architecture to be more low. It's not a complete. Oh my God, forget it now.
Don't worry.
Loose couple. To have a loose couple, right? You have to increase your maintainability, increase your capability to repair for error, resilience. You have a container. So you have a container for your business lives, you have a container for your data store. So you have this inside the Oracle database, but it's not enough. It's not enough because you have, it's not enough from the perspective of developers that wants to run something inside the container, the platform inside the container, and at least run inside the Kubernetes. So the last year, in the end of the last year, we had a great news that was the release of the first version of Oracle Database Operator for Kubernetes that easily make you run Oracle Database as a Kubernetes-Native. So everyone that knows Kubernetes maybe understand what is an operator. Operator is a pattern. It's a pattern that make your application or infrastructure works together in a symbiotic way with the Kubernetes. Make it because, of course, you can run and make everything. For example, provisioning persistence volume. You want to increase your infrastructure. You can do everything using commands. Of course, you can do this. But the idea of the operator is create a kind of automation, right? An automation to allow this infrastructure or application get all the features or needed features from Kubernetes to works in an automated way, because of this is an operator, but an automated operator, not me or you. It's something inside the Kubernetes works with him. It's all APIs and stuff to make this easy. And we constructed an operator for Oracle Database take place is the possibility to have the possibility to work inside the Kubernetes very smooth, very well, and very smooth. So you have this new operator, and I would invite everyone to try, because in few minutes, for example, in few minutes, you can run a single instance database, an enterprise Oracle database. Which is an enterprise Oracle database? I can say that it's the database used by the great majority of the world for many kinds, very strategic applications and products. And I think that you can run this inside your machine using Minikube on an instance of Oracle Database, and works and construct your microservice against Oracle Database, for example. So, curious is this: you run Oracle Database inside the container, inside the Kubernetes, and inside the Oracle Database you have a container with a database, containers in the containers. It's a loop. It's a big loop. It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you so much, to be here with you to talk about this, because I'm very excited about this operator and the possibility to construct my microservice running Kubernetes and deploy in Kubernetes, and also run the database of this microservice also inside the Kubernetes, and work together and take advantage from the dynamic orchestration that Kubernetes gives to us. It's amazing. It's amazing.
That's good. That's good. Let's take a look. If you want to share your screen, we can jump right into it.
Yeah, let me show a little bit what I can talk about more about this.
And as usual, folks, if you have questions for folks in the audience, please feel free to put them directly in the YouTube chat, and we will get to them accordingly throughout the presentation.
You can see my screen?
Almost. It says you started share screen sharing.
Yes, I start sharing. Let's see. Could you see?
It still says double click to enter full screen mode. There we go. Yep, now we see it. Yep, good.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. I'm showing to you my blog that I wrote about a little gentle introduction to Oracle Data Operator for Kubernetes, Oracle Database Operator. I made in this article, I made a very simple introduction to operator to create a base for discussion. And after that, I talk about the operator. So I recommend give a look at this, because it's in 5 minutes you can understand the idea of the operator. As I said, the operator is something that automatically get the state that we declared, and try to make a loop to guarantee that current state has the follow what we declared. So the current state should be what we declared. That's the idea of Kubernetes. We declare some state, it try to run and stay in the state that we will declare, and the operator try to do this automatically. So the Oracle operator do this. It's an open source project that I want to show with you. Here is our GitHub, our Oracle Database Operator. It's an open source, right? I recommend, please give us a star. This operator, this project, as I said, is an open source project, and he is in this project to have the description of how to use the operator. In this first release, really, we have the possibility to work with Oracle Database in different platforms. In this release, we certified for Oracle Kubernetes Container Engine for Kubernetes. Is OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Managed Kubernetes Managed Service. It's an amazing service. Kubernetes certified by CNCF. So it's a good place to run your workloads with Kubernetes, workloads that wants Kubernetes. And also, the operator is certified to run in Oracle Linux Cloud Native environment. Oracle Linux Cloud Native environment, it's a kind of pre-certified, pre-installed Kubernetes, really Cloud Native environment, because it don't have only Kubernetes. I have many other tools for Cloud Native development or execution inside the Oracle Linux. And also, we certified to Minikube. So Minikube also has, you can run your database with operator inside your machine using Minikube. So you have these 3 options to run now, but in near future, we have more options, especially third-party Kubernetes platforms, right? So, important to this also is the supported configuration of Oracle database. You have the possibility to run a single instance database, right? A single instance database is it's a database that you can run for your development. For example, your machine, I recommend this. You have a instance of Oracle Enterprise, Oracle Enterprise Database Enterprise Edition or Standard Edition, and you are running inside your machine, for example. And you have also the possibility to run a kind of version configuration of a database, Oracle database, that named sharded. Sharded, it's a kind of containerized database. When you have your instance segregated in many containers. So this is another kind of deployment possible using operator. And also you can manage. That's incredible because there is an idea of you can operate Oracle database inside the cluster, for example, with the options single instance database, also containerized shared database. This is inside the Oracle, the Kubernetes cluster, but also you have a possibility to use operator and operator commands, for example, start, stop, to operate a OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, autonomous database on a shared, it's a kind of deployment. We name ADBS, Autonomous Database deployed on a shared infrastructure in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. This is a kind of deployment outside of cluster, outside of Oracle Kubernetes cluster. So you can operate with your commands, kubectl, the inside database, inside cluster database, inside Kubernetes cluster database, for example, start and stop, but also using the same operator, you can bind with an external Oracle database, autonomous database, running in a shared infrastructure in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, and operated it also. That's good because you don't have only one database. It's normal. You usually don't have just one. And think about DBRE. DBRE is a kind of SRE. SRE, Site Reliability Engineer, and the DB Reliability Engineer, Database Reliability Engineer, will be able to operate the database that it wants inside the cluster and outside the cluster, for example, ADBS. So that's the possibility. And which commands, which operations is supported in this release? For example, for a single database, you can provisioning, very simple, provisioning on database. You can clone a red provisioned database. You can patch, update, start, stop. You can change the parameter of single database. For the shared database, that kind of containerized database using deployed inside the cluster or Kubernetes cluster, you can provision and deploy. You can create a new shard. What is create a new shard? Shard is a divided database, so you can create a new cup. It's not a cup. Shard is the name, right? The shard of this database. So you can have 3, 4, 7 shards, and you also can delete the shard. And for an outside cluster database, ADB, autonomous database, you can bind to control, and you can start, stop, terminate, scale up, scale down, make the instructions for the database outside the cluster. So you have this opportunity to run the Oracle database inside the cluster, outside the cluster, with many kinds of operations. this that's important also that here in this project, I will open a register here, Oracle register here, Oracle register to show where is coming the image, because when you can get where you can get your image to run, for example, the single instance database. We have the instruction here. For example, it's very simple to run the operator. You can run just this. You implement deploy the operator in your cluster, and also let me check my cluster here. I'm trying to run my Minikube here, but my machine has only 8 gig of memory, so everything is very slow here today. But let's continue here. You can apply the operator very simple. You just get this code, this YAML here. That's very completed. Let me show for you. I cannot say if it's big enough. If you can see no, I think not. Let me try to increase a little bit. More one thing. Let's go. Maybe more one.
Yeah, maybe just one more. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you have here in the instruction of deployment, you have all instruction, custom resource definition created by Oracle, right? We create a CRD to operator. Of course, that is one thing that we should. The operator has many components. One is controller, another one is the CRD. So we have a CRD for Oracle Database, and this deployment. Just a minute. This deployment make the deployment of these components of operator. So you have, for example, the instruction for the operator, the APIs, etc. So you have everything here. You can check. Because it's open source, as I said, and the CRDs are defined for the 3 kinds of database: ADB, sharding, and single DB. So you have custom resource definition for the 3 options, right? And also, after running the Kubernetes, we have this operator running inside the Kubernetes, containers, pods running. You have usually 3 pods running inside your cluster, and you'll be able to deploy your option. As I said, you can deploy inside the Kubernetes a single instance configuration, or you can this one, or you can deploy Oracle sharding options. You have samples here to help you to make the deployment, right? And also you can bind with an autonomous database. One autonomous database is an infrastructure deployed in OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So you have these 3 options. For the instance, single instance, that it's one usually that may be usually used by the developers. You can run inside your Minikube, right? So in your Minikube, you have instructions here to deploy your database. So it's very simple. In 5 minutes, you have your deployments running. I want to show you the image. Where comes the image? You can create the image. That's way. Which image? The Oracle Database image. So you can build your image, Docker image, container image, following the instructions that we have here, right? Or you can use a pre-built image. I recommend for tests, for development, really use a pre-built image. With pre-built is exactly what I said in the beginning. When we start many years ago, we decided, Oracle decided to certify and create image, official image for Oracle Database, not only Oracle Database. So you have a container registry here. Oh my God, it's open here. This container registry, it's Oracle Container has official versions, official image of Oracle, many products, different products, GraphVM, for example, Meteor, MySQL. Also, of course, you have Oracle Database. So here in this registry, you have the options, enterprise, hack, standard editions. You should to create a sign in to be able to get this image. You should be you ask it for accept the license, of course, but you can use this registry. I recommend use for the first moment. In the first moment to try to test to develop it, try to use this already built and tested certified image. So with them, you will be able to create your key to connect to this registry. It's something that you know to do, right? You can create a secret to connect with a register using Kubernetes to connect to with a register. And inside the operator, I will show to you, you have in config samples, you have the three options: ADB, sharding, CDB, and you have options to which you want kind of operation. For example, to run in Minikube. It's very simple. Look at this. You had have a creation of security, a creation of persistence following. You have, oh, it's not very good. The size is not very good. Well, you have here the options to create the persistence following, the deployment, the descriptions for the persistence following, and also below you have the kind single instance database. This kind is exactly what the operator knows about. So when you're deploying in Kubernetes, it will understand this kind of deployment and bind works with Oracle operator, Oracle database operator, and it will try to deploy the single instance database. I recommend you use this in the first moment because it's a simple way to run and test and execute. Unfortunately, let me check my instance here. Okay, it's not running already. I don't know why. Maybe because I update my Mac this week and my memory is going down. Okay, but you have all the instructions here to run your Oracle database single instance, for example, in your Minikube deployment, Minikube infrastructure. I detail a little bit about in this blog entry. I detail the what is the operator, the options. Here I have a picture, a diagram showing how shared options works when you have the operator orchestrating the containers of the sharding. And for the next release, for the next blog, maybe the beginning of the next week, I will have all the instruction and demonstration of running the single instance, oh, sorry, this running the single instance inside my Minikube. Inside the Minikube, I will post in the next, maybe the beginning of the next week. So I think that's a good options to run Oracle database in your machine very quickly. In I can say in at most 10 minutes if you are downloading the image. It's normal. It's usually depending on your network capability, performance, but at most 10 minutes, we will have your single instance running in your Minikube in your Minikube infrastructure. It's very simple, very interesting. But you can try on other things. You can try sharding. You can try to operate ADB also in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So I think I'm very excited with this because bring to us, Bart, the possibility to very quickly works with the most used database in the world. So it's very simple to return and develop microservices and messaging, etc. Inside using Oracle database. So
Very
Bart,
good.
it's
Good
this.
stuff.
I don't
Good
know.
stuff.
It's like this. I can
No. This is good. This is good. This is good. Very, very easily explained. Like you said, things, because this is something that's quite common in our community, right? Is how can we make, we don't want to say, how can we make Kubernetes, we don't want to say more boring, but we do want to say, how can we make it less overwhelming? And I think the very simple steps that you went through there is very promising to be thinking about what we can expect in 2022, that for folks out there, like you said, and I find this really interesting. This is something I want to unpack a little bit more with you. The concept of being a DBRE, right? What I find really interesting about that, I don't know why this is, but I feel like because of looking in LinkedIn for this a fair amount, that in Brazil, a lot of people are referring to themselves as DBREs, or is that just my perception?
Yeah, really, I think that it's a next step for DBAs, right? DBAs,
Yeah.
DBAs is a kind of operator, right? A kind of professional, very experienced in works with database. So in the past, likewise, sysadmin works with how maintaining a site reliable, and in the 5 years, the last 5 years, we start to listen about SREs, because Google created this discipline, not created, but documented this discipline.
That's it.
Right?
Wrote the book on it.
Yeah. Yes, documented it. It makes sense because it was working in a kind of size software as a service, and they want to get your sysadmin look to reliability, because size should, of course, is the one of the key KPI from size is reliability, of course.
Yep.
So SREs is coined and was a very good idea to create this concept. But look to the DBAs, someone that likewise sysadmin operate the database, make the database reliable, make the database get performance, increase the performance, look to the database and improve the performance and improve the reliability, or guarantee the reliability of the database. So when these folks look to the next step, they could not stay in the same page of the past, looking for only the database inside of it, because you should just say, oh my God, you have an infrastructure outside the database that has many capabilities. For example, infra code, when you are provisioning 10 years ago, when you start to provisioning a database, to ask someone, oh, hi, give me the machine, please. Oh, okay, here, the machine. And okay, give me the permission, the user for, no, you cannot use this user, the huge user is this, etc. You have many steps to create a database. Now, with a simple, very simple line, a command line, you can create an autonomous database in Oracle Cloud. For example, a simple command line, use the OCI-CLI, you create a database.
Yeah.
So when you talk about this with a DBA, the DBA should do this with a single command, should create a database. And when you think about Kubernetes, or the DBA should have to have to be able to use Kubernetes to run it's the database he wants, right? They want. So if they want to run a database inside the Kubernetes, they need to know what is Kubernetes.
Agreed.
Because it's not a VM. It's not a VM. Kubernetes is not a VM. A container is not a VM. I said this in my article. In the beginning of the article, I say, oh, look, the Kubernetes, it's for default stateless orchestrator. Mm-hmm. The containers are based on the best practice. It's a stateless kind of deployment. So how can I do for my stateful application run and take advantage of this orchestration? You need to understand this.
Yeah.
Where you put your when you put your slash data, slash, where is your slash data? No, because database has this. Where is the slash data slash your data? Yeah. You don't have this inside. So you need to think this. And the DBRE, it's the professional that knows inference code, knows what is site reliability, and knows what make the database inside this infrastructure reliable also. So we are here talk a lot about this because this is not the future, but the present for
agreed. And I think for people that don't realize that at an organizational level, they need to start, listening and getting out in the community to realize that, like you said, this is not the future. This is something that's happening right now. And it's changing the scope and way in which DBAs have been thinking up until now, and realizing that role is changing. We have a question from the audience that I want to share with you. So someone in the audience asked, how does the Oracle Cloud Native performance compare with traditional methods of usage? I'll drop it right here in the Zoom.
Compared with what? Compared with traditional method. Yeah. Look, the performance, it's really, of course, if you have a deployment of database or any kind of application, if you deploy this kind of application inside a bare metal, of course the performance is high compared, because you get only, let's look to the layers. The layers are ship, operational system, and application. When you get this, you put one more layer, for example, a virtual machine, you lost a piece of performance, a piece of the performance you be for this layer of virtualization. But if you remove this idea of layers and think that it's needed, you need the container, you need the Kubernetes, you don't have loss. You don't lost the performance in making as looking to how can I say, from a theoretical perspective, of course, but each kind of deployment has its performance. So make assumption that the performance is the same. It's something that you only can do with applying large tests, performance tests, and so I cannot affirm that, oh, it's the same performance. No, that because don't not exist this kind of thing. Same performance. The same performance really is you should to deploy in your infrastructure, and apply. It's a recommendation. Apply all performance tests needed for your deployment architecture. That is the best practice, right? And compare, of course, because you should take in mind that when you have an application, you should have also you have business requirements. But you have no requirements about technical requirements. That is performance, latency, and the others. So one of them that is performance is some kind that you want to review tests to have them comfortable with your KPIs. So to guarantee a kind of KPI indicator, performance indicator, you should to run tests. But in the theoretical way, you don't have a huge difference between performance. But remember, layers. Of course, if you cannot compare something that you are deployed over the bare metal and compare something deployed over a container or VM or so on. You cannot compare directly.
Very
Not
good
makes
answer.
sense.
No, very good answer. Because like you said, it's a question of context and those other factors that are going to be present in one environment comparing to another, which makes it very difficult to say side by side, this is exactly how we see performance.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a very good answer. Now we're almost at the end, but as usual, this is our first meetup live stream of the year. We do have a tradition in our community where we like to celebrate what our speakers have been talking about with something a little bit original, where we always have our amazing artist in the background, Angel, who's incredible, created this drawing while we were talking of an artistic depiction of the things that were mentioned in Paulo's talk. As we mentioned at the beginning, I shared the link in the YouTube chat for the blog post if you want to check that out. Paulo is an extremely accessible and very active and very friendly person, if you didn't know that already. You can find him in the CNCF Slack. You can find him on Twitter. You can find him on LinkedIn. He's very approachable, very eager to share information and help others grow. Paulo, we thank you for helping us out today, and we look forward to having you again soon with us.
Thank you so much, Bart. As I said, it was an honor to be here. I hope we can I could pass the information and very clear for everyone, and invite everyone to test, invite everyone to criticize it, because it's an open source. It's an open source, guys. You can open a issue and say, oh, something is not running, or something is running very well. Please give you stars, help us because it's an open source, so you can work together. So it's amazing to be here with you in the beginning of the year. So it's a gift, to be honest, because today is my birthday. I'm celebrating
very happy birthday. Very happy birthday. Very happy birthday. I hope that you're able to enjoy as much as you can in whatever way possible. I wish you health and happiness as much as possible in this year that will be an interesting one as the previous ones. So, Paulo, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Muito obrigado. Take care.
Muito obrigado. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Gracias.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. De nada. Have a good one, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.